Okay, so we have our Fed announcement, and we pretty much did exactly what I said it was going to do. I actually put in an order, but it was during like the day uh, while I was doing other stuff, so it was hard to stream at that time. But basically, let me put in a line here right at the 7:50 by switching to the 30-minute. Okay, so I saw this um, bullish engulfing candle, and it didn't look like it was going to uh, come back down to the 675. So I just didn't want to miss out, and I added the order at the 750 sometime earlier this morning, but after I had provided the update on the open. So maybe 30 minutes or an hour after I streamed, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the 750 because I kept getting alerted, kept chopping around over here, like on the 5 minute, for example, just kept chopping around, but not breaking this low, not coming in to buy it. So I mean, you know what? At this point, did I do a buy stop or a limit? I don't remember, but I well, this makes it look like it came back down into a limit. If it went up and then came back down, it was probably a limit order. So anyway, I took the 750, taking the gamble that the overall sentiment was going to be positive and stay positive, and it was. I didn't even look at this until now. It hit my target profit at 34,000, which is a 250 point move, and then I know I had a short up here that got stopped out almost immediately, and then I got picked up on the backup order to go short on the 34,075. That almost got stopped out. It was very close. The high of it was 146, just about 4 points away from being stopped out. But then this lovely upside down hammer or kangaroo tail star, whatever you want to call this looking kind of candle form, to have it to fade the positive news from the Fed announcement. Now that's really common. I think I said that in earlier that we were expecting news, but I don't really pay attention that much to the news because the range and the size that we trade in with these quarters is such that like it's you don't really need it. If anything, the news just helps bring price to the next quarter, and then it'll do what it does there. So it's almost exactly as I called it. This was, it just stayed inside the range that we were talking about. The 34.75, the backup band of of the major level held up nicely, and right now it's chopping around. It's doing a slow fade, which fade is always a little bit slower, but usually it comes back down to around where it started from, and this has me a little bit concerned because there's a little bit of support here. I guess right when the announcement happened, it was it at 12:30 or was it? Well, let me go down a little bit further. So it seemed like the announcement happened, or the movement for the announcement happened around 12:40, maybe 12:45. Uh, you know, it was positive. I'm on the 1 minute chart. I never trade off this 1 minute chart. It's just to get down to precision of where exactly did the movement start. It looked like it started around 12:45, and I wasn't paying attention to the news at all. But I knew there was news to be had, so there was probably some kind of movement up or down today. And in general, the news, it seems like Jerome Powell wants to give positive news until he can't anymore. That's what it. What my. That's what it feels like. I have nothing really to back that up. I have no intel on that. That's legit. It just seems to be his pattern of making announcements and speaking, is that he's giving positive news as he possibly can until he runs out of gas for positive news. And as of right now, first quarter of a new year, there's a lot of positive things, and that he has fuel to deliver on, at least verbally. Who knows? What this is all based on what he says, not what he does. And so far he's been saying positive things. So if I had to pick a guess up or down, I would guess that his comments are going to go up. So that's kind of the thinking behind it's a pure guess, right? It's an educated guess, I think, but it's one that could easily be wrong, and if I was wrong, then I would have been looking. This candle would be just inverted, and we would have made new lows. But even then, I could have maybe thought about taking the fade back up after bad news from the 500 or the backup of that band at 425. Okay, the strategy is the same. It's just that my bias is slightly more long than it is short, except for when I hit the top of the range. So I had the top of the range, 34,000. Betting on the range still holding. The Dow has been range bound. It is freaking ugly. But if you can wrap your head around playing it that way, then the quarter strategy holds up pretty good, and that's what we're at right now. So obviously we're past the halfway point on this short. So I moved the stop to break even, and let's inch closer to this take profit. Meanwhile, my S&P 500 trade is, because it has the same announcement and the same movement, is in a much larger range of my for my it's not really the range. What's the right way of saying it? I give myself a much larger field to play in, right? Like from end zone to end zone, or like a larger court in a, let's say, like in a basketball court or in like a soccer field or something like that. The same range on the minor levels of it, on the S&P, is a much larger area, so there's much more room for error. There's a lot more room to breathe, even despite a announcement. Now, some people are going to look at this and be like, "Oh my God, I missed out on the, if I just took a 2-to-1, I would have had some profit." Like that's not the kind of thinking that I do. Like that goes against, that's in direct conflict with the nature of this strategy. So that's like the biggest enemy is the FOMO. Just let the trade breathe, and let it do its thing. So right now, technically, I should move this because we went past the halfway point, and and now it's fading. Technically, I should move this stop up to break even, but I'm hesitant to do so because of the reason we hit the halfway point. The only reason we hit the halfway point here is because of news announcement. A news announcement is like very short lived, and it's like a adrenaline shot. It's like injecting steroids. It's like, yeah, it's strong for a second, but then the strength of that fades very quickly. And the nature of how quickly it fades is kind of the nature of like, what was the announcement about? In this case, we're seeing that it's fading almost right away, and so I can easily see this coming back to the 4100 and then re-engaging this zone right here, which is just a retest of this previous zone. So this may or may not hold up, but if anything, I would still bet on this to hold up, because the range on the S&P 500 is the previous swing low is right around the 44,088, and then the high is around 177, and I'm betting for it to complete this move. Okay, so right now it almost completed it. Now it's fading, but that is not a reason for FOMO, in my opinion. Not for the strategy that I'm doing. Okay, if I was a scalper and I was slow to the trigger, then maybe, but this is no reason to feel FOMO. And I'm gonna give it some more room to breathe, because this is just a fade off of the reaction to the move, to the Fed announcement move. So I'm not gonna move the stop just yet. I'm gonna let it do its thing, and maybe not move, let it come back up, and then rally again. Let me start that again. Let the fade finish and let the rally resume, and then I'll consider moving this stop to break even, purely because of the reason for this strong move up. Now, so like I said earlier in the morning, I'm short one index and long the other index, and they're both in profit. Okay, and hopefully I just want this to complete real quick. Hopefully it'll do that any minute now. But that's the kind of thing with the nature of that's the difference of the size in the S&P versus the Dow. So pretty good day. One loss, but that loss is very small. There it is. There's that profit. All right, I just needed to wait patiently for that to happen. Okay, so I won twice and lost once. So that's I won 500 pips points, and I lost 75. Like, I'll take that every day, right? Lose 75, win 500. Lose 75, win 500. Obviously, it's not going to happen that way every day, but it's an easy deal. I would take that deal every day. I'm going to leave the buy limit here. I'm still going to play the range, right? I mean, this I don't think that we are going to fundamentally break out of this range anytime soon, to be perfectly honest, because there's still macroeconomic problems in the world, but the markets, like the people, still want to be positive. They still want to be bullish. See, I bet you, even as I'm talking, this is going to approach my entry, and I would have been stopped out for break even if I kept it. There's that alert. Would have been stopped out for a break even there. I'm not going to keep it. So I'm just going to let it breathe. So even as I'm talking, it's doing exactly what it's just textbook stuff. I'm not a fortune teller with a crystal ball or a genius or anything like that. See, I would have been stopped out. I'm not a guru of any kind. This is just textbook stuff. And it's behaving in a textbook manner. So I might even get picked up on this thing right now, and I'll leave it as is. Hopefully this will hold up, because this thing is coming down with a vengeance. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, that's the update for the day. I'm probably done for the day. I'm gonna leave this, win or lose, I don't care. I have profits to spare for today, so I'm not going to mess with my previous decision to play this backup order. Either way, I have the S&P still working. Right, this is a swing trade that's just breathing. Okay, and again, no FOMO based on the profits that I coulda, woulda, shoulda taken. Maybe at the 41.50. No FOMO there.